Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to take a super laser-focused approach and dive headfirst into an unbelievable historical extreme. Sometimes to really grasp the sheer, mind-boggling magnitude of an event, you don't need a massive textbook crammed with data. You just need to strip away all the peripheral noise and focus on the absolute core. So we've got a very brief but incredibly striking piece of source material to unpack today. It's kind of like a title, a statement of fact, and a lingering mystery all rolled into one. By peeling back the layers of just a few words, we're going to wrap our heads around an event of literally unparalleled scale. Let's kick things off with a concept that completely shatters our everyday expectations: the loudest sound. I mean, really think about those three words for a second. We're constantly bombarded with noise, right? We all know what loud is. We definitely know what deafening is. But what we're talking about here introduces an awesome, almost terrifying scientific extreme that stands way above everything else. This isn't just one of the loudest things ever. It is the absolute loudest, period. It's a peak on a graph where absolutely nothing else even comes close. I want you to genuinely think about this for a moment. What is the loudest sound ever recorded? Imagine a sound so immense, so ridiculously powerful, that it literally breaks the scale of what our planet can naturally produce. We are asking you to conceptualize what it takes for a sound to hold this ultimate heavyweight title. It's a wild thought experiment that really stretches the limits of what we imagine nature is actually capable of pulling off. And here is our source text in its entirety. Echoes of the Krakatoa blast, the loudest sound ever recorded. This brief little phrase perfectly captures the whole shebang, the entire arc of this unparalleled historical event. Every single word here has been meticulously chosen to convey a sense of unimaginable scale and lasting impact. It delivers a complete narrative arc in just 9 words. 9 words! And honestly, that's really all we need to understand the historical standing of this massive event. Now think about the dramatic juxtaposition right out of the gate here. The contrast between the blast and the echoes. A blast is, well, it's violent, it's instantaneous, it's singular. It is a finite, localized release of catastrophic energy. But our text begins with echoes. Echoes represent the lingering permanence of that initial action. The source material forces us to hold two completely opposing ideas in our heads at the exact same time. The brutal finality of one explosive moment and the inescapable ongoing ripples that just keep resonating long after the dust has settled. Let's break this down piece by piece. Echoes, Krakatoa, blast, loudest sound, recorded. When we isolate them like this, we realize just how efficiently this sets the scene. Each word is like a load-bearing pillar supporting the weight of this massive historical truth. Echoes frames the aftermath, Krakatoa identifies the source, blast gives us the mechanism, loudest sound slaps us with that supreme metric, and recorded brings in the human element. Literally, nothing is wasted here. Every single piece contributes directly to the sheer scale of the subject. Krakatoa. In this context, it isn't just a place on a map anymore. It is the origin point of a planetary scale anomaly. Our text elevates this one word into a universal symbol of overwhelming force. By placing this name squarely at the center of our attention, we instantly recognize it as the sole author of this wild physical phenomenon we're exploring. So the crucial takeaway here is that, within our source text, the Krakatoa blast has become entirely synonymous with this one extreme metric. It isn't defined here by the geology or the specific date it happened. It's defined simply and clearly by being the loudest sound ever recorded. The event and the superlative are just forever locked together. When we say Krakatoa in this context, we are literally talking about the absolute ceiling of sound itself. Number 1. There are no ties for first place here, folks. Out of all the documented events on our entire planet, this stands totally alone at the very peak of auditory extremes. It is singular, it is unmatched. Emphasizing this number 1 highlights just how uniquely isolated this event is in the historical record. It's in a league of its own. Let's boil this down to a pure, undeniable equation. The event, the Krakatoa blast. The status, the loudest sound ever recorded. It's a perfect, neat balance of cause and historical standing. Stripping the concept down to this straightforward format really lets us appreciate the factual weight of the claim without any distractions whatsoever. Direct cause and effect. We can even trace a literal progression here based on the text. Step 1, the explosive origin, the blast. Step 2, the human intervention that cemented it in history, the record. And finally, Step 3, the lasting impact, the echoes. This 3-step progression takes us on a crazy journey from a fraction of a second of just immense, world-breaking energy, all the way to a long tail of historical resonance. Actually, let's pause and think about the vast timeline implied by the phrase ever recorded. I mean, it means humanity was there to witness it, to measure it, and to preserve the knowledge of its sheer force. These 2 words anchor this unimaginable physical event firmly within our human timeline. It's a great reminder that an extreme event only really becomes a record if someone is actually there to document it, right? Notice the fascinating contrast going on here. On one side, you have the loudest sound, representing this raw, uncaring physical phenomenon. Just the sheer force of nature operating on a massive, terrifying scale. But on the other side, you have ever recorded, which represents the human consciousness that was forced to endure and document it. The source text beautifully bridges the gap between a wild act of the natural world and our very real human experience.
Echoes. Our source material asks us to look past the initial violence and focus on what remains. Echoes are softer, yeah, for sure, but they persist. They refuse to let the silence fully return. It's kind of a beautiful reminder that events of this magnitude don't just end when the blast is over. They leave a footprint.
And so, we arrive at our final thought. If the Krakatoa blast was absolutely undeniably the loudest sound ever recorded, what echoes of it still remain? Beyond the physical shockwaves, how does an event of that unimaginable scale continue to reverberate through our history and our understanding of the natural world? It is a fascinating, lingering mystery hidden right there within our brief source text, leaving us to wonder just how long the echoes of a true ultimate extreme will actually last.